Hello everyone, I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Lines TV. Welcome to a Q&A live stream. It's good to see everyone. Sorry about that, I just had to sort my phone out. I was running out of power and that, so yeah, I had to come in quickly. But it's good to see everyone here. I want to say thank you to everyone that obviously wished me happy birthday and that, so I appreciate that. Obviously I had to get myself something nice for my birthday. Got myself some 97s. I just thought, you know what, why not? You only live once, innit? Nini, why you betrayed Chelsea by wearing a Juve kit? I'm not gonna lie, this kit, an exclusive kit, I just thought I had to get it. And I'm getting that Real Madrid kit too. So I just thought, you know what, why not? Add to the collection and that. So yeah, I think this only cost me £58 from Kitbag. 58. And I nearly paid double that from Juventus's website. So yeah, real talk, man. I got lucky. The timeline saved me. I didn't take no L's. But happy belated birthday, Mehdi. I appreciate that, bro. But I can't really accept it right now. Obviously, you missed it by a few days. 3 days he missed it by. So yeah, I have to keep that for next year, bro. I'm sorry about that. Um, Jeez, Alex, Will, how you guys doing? What is the background music in the Watford match preview? You know what? I'm gonna put the music in the description from the next video. So in case you guys want to know the background song, because I don't know what it is, I forgot. I got it from the editor at the time. So yeah, it's like that really. But you guys, you know what you're here for today. The Q&A live stream. It's an opportunity for you to ask any Chelsea related questions or anything really. Obviously I'll answer it. Of course, if you look in the yellow, it says send super chats or priority. That means that if you want your question answered straight away, obviously send a super chat, nothing too crazy. I mean, it's Christmas soon. I understand that. We've got to save our money for better things. And also, if you're a Patreon subscriber, remember, I will obviously answer your questions. So make sure that if you're a Patreon subscriber, send your messages through there. But yeah, going through things. I'm going to answer the first question. CRYB Nini, should Hudson-Odoi go out on loan to the Bundesliga? Me personally, I think he should be. I mean, you've got Sancho doing very well there. You've got Reece Nelson doing very well. And I just think that at this time now, he's too good to be playing under 23. He should be playing with the big boys in a professional league. If all we can offer him is Burnley and Southampton in this country, then obviously it's not the right direction in my personal opinion. He's not really going to learn anything. It's not really going to benefit his football education. I think that the reason why guys like Nelson and Sancho are getting even more hype is because they got that fortune where they're playing, for teams and under a system that complements their skill set. They can play to their game. And you've got to think, if you're someone like Hudson-Odoi, you're going to Burnley. Most times you're just running after the ball the entire game. You've got no one to link with. You're going to get used like your Aaron Lennon, and you're not going to learn anything. And by doing that, it just gives the advantage to guys like Reece and Sancho, because, obviously, the England national team, these guys are all English internationals. There's going to be big competition for these places in the future. So what you do now is going to predetermine, obviously, how you're going to be seen and how you're going to be used. Obviously, the advantage so far is with Nelson and Sancho. I mean, Sancho already getting an England call-up already, and doing very well at Dortmund. And is it any surprise why Dortmund are considering selling Pulisic now they've got Sancho? I mean, I think Sancho is probably better than Pulisic. So it's no surprise to me why he is being linked again. After they were so vehement from him, obviously not leaving last summer. But I'm just praying we don't sign the guy. You guys, give me 1 second. Okay. Pep Guardiola, oops, Zach Stevens, Nini, why is Willian scapegoated so much? I don't know. To be honest, I feel I give a lot of context in regards to Willian. Now, I'm not saying that the people that have grievances with Willian are wrong. I don't think they are, in my personal opinion. I think that the reason why he's so divisive amongst the fan base is because his form fluctuates. And to me, I've always said, when you see this guy playing in a position that suits him, where he can play to a stronger foot, you can see what he can really do. And just cast your minds back to last season, that first 3 month spell between January and March, Willian was our best player in that 3 month period. Let's not forget the phenomenal game against Barcelona. And I really think that's why Barcelona was so interested in Willian, because they do need someone down that left hand side. They saw what Willian's able to bring, what they can do. So it's no surprise why they started looking at him. But I think he is a talented player. But I think that because he's kind of used out of position, he's not going to be able to consistently reach form all the time. Okay, Mehdi Ibrahim. I'm hoping to release it I mean, it's hard. I mean, this week there's a lot of matches coming. I've got the Man City game. I've got some previews and stuff planned for that. And I don't really want to put the video in between, stuff coming for the Man City game. So, I think it might be safe sometime next week, to be honest. Okay. Lali, thoughts on the front three of Hudson-Odoi, Hazard, and Pedro? Well, I don't. The thing for me though is if Hazard plays up front, he's not going to touch the ball much, and you can't afford this guy, touching less than half of the ball. I don't think it's going to help us as much because he's really important for our overall play as a team. With Hazard, a lot of people just focus on stats. End of the day, anytime I hear that argument from people, you're telling me that you don't watch the guy. Yeah, you might see a few highlights of match of the day in the evening. That doesn't count as watching the player. I think Hazard's best ability is that he improves the whole team, galvanizes them, everyone passes better. He's the link that makes every player better on the pitch, and I think you can't really you can't put a stat on something like that. And I think that if you played him up front, you could potentially miss out on some things for the team. To be honest, I think Pedro could be the guy. I think that'd be interesting. Maybe as Pedro is getting older too, the less defensive work he has to do, maybe the more prolonged his career at Chelsea could be. I mean, Pedro is very good at, first of all, not getting offsides like Morata, and also his movement in behind is really good, and he's got a left foot and a right foot, and I think that he'd actually be an interesting player to see playing in that role. I think Martins is a bit similar stylistically to someone like Pedro. Look how he prospered. I think Pedro could do that as well, but I don't know. You would think, though, if you're a Chelsea manager, you would have probably thought of, Pedro playing up front. I mean, maybe, but I don't know. But I'm guessing you would be thinking of stuff like that. And so far, they haven't done that. And yeah, I mean, I'm not like a master in the game. I don't know every single thing. There's still a lot of things that I can get better at. And I'm not really that amazing at, judging players perfectly. You know what I mean? So who knows what the reason could be. The harsh horse Pedro is great at pressing. Yeah, he is. And I think that if he doesn't have to focus on, coming back with a fullback, maybe that could help him even more. Okay. Football after 4K. Zuma thoughts. Hasn't Zuma lost his place in the team to Mina now, even though I thought he was really good? I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Everton don't own Mina. They don't own Zuma. They paid 30 million for Keane. They've spent like another 30 for Mina. It looks like Zuma's going to be forced to be the third choice option because obviously Everton don't own the guy. It is frustrating. I really thought they'd be using Mina and Zuma together. I think that would be the best defensive partnership. I kind of think Michael Keane is a bit overrated, in my opinion. I don't know. We'll see what happens as the season goes on. But, the whole Zuma thing just makes me sad when I think about, just one injury can cause this much damage. And I don't know, if you're a young player, you're a player that gets an injury at Chelsea, you start to get nervous about your career with the club because it seems like after one injury, the club can just dismiss you instantly and not give you another opportunity. We keep forgetting, a lot of times, for example, if a player is going to leave a club, like when Sterling went to Man City, he was getting crucified from people from, the press and from Liverpool, etc., etc. But then it's just like, the clubs don't really back you. So I don't understand why people pick and choose when they can, agree with everything the club does. I mean, they don't. It is a short career. It is very ruthless in this industry. I mean, next minute you're in, the other day you could be out straight away. It's stressful. Cassio Jr., Billy Gilmore to be the future Regista. That could be very interesting. Obviously, I've told you guys that we are looking at some young backup players for that role. Obviously, I haven't told you this. I've got 2 videos that I will be releasing as well, but I want to release the Transfer Target video first. But the other one is some exclusive stuff on the Director of Football thing, and the other one is an exclusive stuff. Why am I speaking like a retard? You guys, I'm sorry. It's been a long day, but for the other video, I'm going to be talking about some stuff involving Sari. So I think it should be really interesting. So yeah, it's gonna be a long month this month, a long ass month. CFC Anuj, thank you, bro, for that super chat. Your question is, we can beat Man City. Sari said CFC talked to Hazard. I'm confused, bro. What do you mean? Sari said CFC talked to Hazard. Oh, do you mean in regards to a new contract or something like that? When it comes to Man City, that's going to be a very interesting game. Obviously, Man City are the best team in the country. There's no debating that. It'd be interesting to see how we can go against them. But so far, I think it's kind of a case of, master versus apprentice. Man City are the masters right now. We're like the apprentices trying to get to that level. I think that it's going to be a great learning curve. As long as we play well, if it's a good performance we can be proud of, I won't necessarily be upset if we do lose the game. But it's the performance that matters. I don't want to see us getting, tactically, outmaneuvered by Man City. Ideally, I want it to be a game where, I don't know, let's say we never won because of a refereeing decision, or Morata misses an open goal again or something like that, So it's gonna be interesting against Man City. It really is, especially that battle in midfield when it comes to pressing. I can imagine there's going to be so many tactical videos released by YouTubers after that game. I can just imagine things going crazy. It's hard for me to really say right now. It really is. Sam Parsons saying, any thoughts on Daishawn Redan? I think that realistically, we just won't ever use any youth player, really. Let's be serious. If I was him, I'd go for a loan move. I find it kind of weird that he would leave Ajax to even sign for us. I mean, if he stay there, he's got a much better chance at playing first team for them. It seems like in Holland now, they are producing a lot of young, great players again. Obviously they haven't produced some great Dutch players for a while now. With guys like De Ligt and Frankie De Jong and all these types of guys as well. Redan staying at Ajax, I don't know. But I'm guessing his next step's going to be a loan move. Let me see. I've got another super chat. Thank you, bro. Nini, who's the transfer targets from Pep Guardiola? I mean, I don't know why you would send me that super chat, because I'm not going to be saying in a live stream. So I appreciate the thing, bro. I'm sorry for that, but yeah, man. Obviously, I can tell you though that we are looking at a striker, a right winger, a right back, and a backup player for the Regista role. And I'm even hearing certain things about looking at other midfield replacements as well. But these midfield replacements are young players, not for the youth team, but like young players that Sarri could work with and mould. So I'm going to be talking about all that type of stuff, because obviously for my videos, I don't personally feel like, there's a lot of filler in them. I think that I put a lot of detail and context in. So I think if I was to just ruin it, like, straight away, it's going to be kind of dead. So sorry about that. Timothy, thank you for the super chat. Don't think we had an amazing performance all year. How and when do you see this team finally clicking? Oh, I think that is a bit harsh that you don't think we've had a great performance all year. We've had some good ones. I mean, I can understand some of the frustrations. I think the reason why the team are struggling a tiny bit is because we're coming up against different tactics now. You got to realize at the start of this season, teams were allowing us to play out from the back. They were defending very deep and, playing into our strengths. Now they're realizing, if you're playing against a Sarri ball system, obviously doesn't it make sense to try and close the passing lanes and try and use a mid block, try and press them high at times, try and close down Jorginho more religiously. It makes a lot of sense. So it's understandable that the team are struggling a tiny bit because a new obstacle has just come from nowhere. So that's the context of the situation from how I see it. So I just think that again, it's just more patience really. We've got to be more patient and for things to click. I think we'll start to see that once we get better at beating teams that use a mid block and press us high. I think that closing the passing lanes, I think that once I see us looking better in the wide areas with our build-up play, then I think we'll be closer to doing what we need to do with Sarri. But yeah, I don't think we're too far away from that, because you got to see it like this. Imagine if Imagine if teams were using every type of system and we struggled against them. Then you would know that we're really far behind. But I kind of feel like, for us to even get to the point where we're struggling against this type of opposition, we had to have, accomplished a few steps beforehand to get to this level. So I think we're getting there. I don't think we're too far. Who knows? Maybe after January, when it's around February, that could be a possibility. I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm feeling optimistic. I can't lie. I'm feeling really optimistic. Lali, thank you for the super chat. Can we use Ampadu as a right back like Pep uses Delph? I don't necessarily think so. Obviously, Delph is a midfield player. He is good on the ball. With how Pep likes his, fullbacks, he likes to use like inverted wingbacks that will like move closer into midfield. So in a way, that does bring the best out of Delph's skill set. I think Ampadu's future will be as a centre back. I think he's much better as one. Obviously, obviously he's got some nice attributes to his game. I like that with Ampadu. He gets really tight to his players. And I remember that game, against POK with Zappa Costa. That's one thing Zappa doesn't do. He doesn't get tight enough. He doesn't close down quickly enough. And this is why he's not winning enough tackles. And this is why he gets out of position. But with Ampadu, immediately, that threat from POK stopped coming down that right-hand side when he came on. But again, I don't think that he is that type of ball possession right back. I think that, for me, he's a centre-back, in my opinion. But again, thank you for that super chat. Answering some more questions. Let me see. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, King DT12313. That is a long ass name. Nini, thoughts on Tammy possibly being recalled in January? I think it might come down to the player's decision as well. But actually, no, Chelsea can recall back when they want to. It'll be interesting. I don't know. I don't think it'd be worth it right now because I still would imagine Sarri would use Giroud or Morata at times. I think it's best that Tammy plays consistently throughout the year. Hopefully, Aston Villa do get promoted, so maybe he can continue as a first choice striker there and get some continuity. That could be good for him at Aston Villa. I don't think him coming back now will work, and I know it's hindsight, but I guess you thinking, imagine if these guys were maybe not a bit more patient, but I mean, I can't. It's not fair for me to say that, but imagine if these guys did stay and took a risk. There's a massive chance that Mitchell or Tammy could have got way more game time right now. So that's something to think about. Nitska, Matt Samnini, thoughts on the Ballon d'Or? I'm not gonna lie, I don't really care too much about the awards. The first time I realised I never cared was when I was young, and when Essien scored that banger, but Ronaldo's goal, that 40-yard screamer against Porto, for some reason that was given goal of the year, not Essien's volley from outside the box with his left foot. I mean, I don't understand, but it's always been a popularity contest. Modric is an amazing player, but I'm sorry, do I think it was Modric's best ever season at Real Madrid? Of course not. I think he's played better in other seasons. And was he the best midfield player in the World Cup? You guys might think I'm crazy, but I don't even think he was. I think Pogba was the best midfielder in the World Cup because everything good France did came through him, either from assists or setting up a play or doing this, doing that. And it's like, if he wasn't in midfield, a lot of those opportunities that France created wouldn't have come because that was what Pogba was doing. So, I don't know. I really don't understand. But think about it like this. I mean, Courtois won goalkeeper of the year. This was probably his worst season was it his worst season? Yeah, one of his lowest seasons this year. Yeah, he won goalkeeper of the year. So when shit like that happens, you can't take it seriously. Prince, hey Prince, Nini, please, is Marco Van Ginkel still a Chelsea player? He is. I think he's just come back from injury, but I'm expecting him to go back on loan again in January, realistically. I think, obviously, because he sustained that injury right from the start, no club is going to take him on loan. He had to recover fast before anything happens. But another player that's been played around, I mean, I'm sure over the years he could have got the possibility of being given that chance at Chelsea. I don't think that's going to be the case anymore, to be honest. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with these new rules from FIFA as well. I mean, I'll be honest, I haven't really read into everything too concretely. Why am I messing up my words today? But yeah, someone like this, it needs to be sold. We can't keep players like this on forever. I understand the club make money from the loan fees, etc., etc. But I don't know. I don't think it's fair on the player, to be honest. Um, I'm going to answer some Patreon questions now. Raul, question for the live stream. Oscar used to be my favourite player. So under the right manager, what type of player could Oscar have become? Should the club invest in Oscar-like players? World-class potential, but unfinished article. Honestly, that's a very fun question. In my opinion, I think the player Oscar was very similar to is Kevin De Bruyne. I think that they're very good at pressing. I think their best stuff is what they do in the final third. They can both play a pass. Obviously, Oscar's very good in the half spaces as well. Has a goal threat. And, you know, Oscar was, honestly, he should be a world-class midfield player right now. Yeah, we really messed up with Oscar. And I think we really messed him up because we didn't allow him to play the role we signed him for. Instead, he had to play more defensively, and none of the, he wasn't allowed to let any of the play go through him. If he was playing under a manager like Guardiola or a team that uses, his skill set, he would be rated much more highly. I don't know. It's a shame, to be honest. I think that especially in this system with Sarri, I think he easily could have been like a Hamsik-like figure in midfield. I think he would, he should be a much better player. But I think that we really wasted the key years of his development because we used him very negatively. So a lot of his, it's how it is. It's how it is. So it's a shame. But this is why guys like De Bruyne had to leave, because imagine if it was vice versa. De Bruyne is the one that stayed, Oscar was the one that left. I think their careers would be very different right now. And this is the risky thing with Chelsea. You can be a very top talented young player or have a lot of high potential, and your career can get messed up and you get treated badly. So it's a weird one. Will, what's your preference for our left centre back midfield spot? Who do you want to start? Well, of course, we're talking about the number 8. In my opinion, I would start Ruben. I know a lot of you guys will say I'm dick riding. I know. But I think that his skill set is what I've always been impressed by. And I've been waiting for years to see him play in his best position. I mean, the guy's 22. It's taken him 4 years to play as a box-to-box midfield player. But already, I think he's got that confidence of knowing that he's good here. He's got that confidence of playing at Palace last season. And I think that when he plays now, as he's saying, he knows that he can affect the game. And every time he plays, he does affect it. He either has a shot on goal, or he's played someone in, or he's done a very good piece of play that sets someone up. And when you keep consistently doing that, the manager just can't keep ignoring you every single time, especially when, I'll be really getting that amazing defensive support from guys like Cover and Ross. I mean, that left-hand side is still a bit weak. And I think maybe offensively, Ruben's the best one out of both players. So he's the guy I would go for. Yes, Josh. What's your score prediction for the City game at the weekend? It's a hard one. Obviously, when I do my match previews, I take a lot of time writing scripts and doing the research. I recorded the Man City Watford game, so I'm going to be watching that later. But yeah, honest, I'd be happy. I'd be happy if we got a 1-1. If we don't lose the game, I'd be happy with that. But I don't know. I think City are going to beat us, if I'm being realistic. Still, I'm sure Sarri's going to have plans to come up against Man City. Let's see what happens. But I'm not feeling too optimistic right now. Christian Valadez. Speaking of kits, what would you like to see our next shirt sponsor be after Yokohama? My next... Oh, that's I never really thought about that, to be honest. Next shirt sponsor. Trying to think. Probably Nando's. I like Nando's. Nando's would be fun. Callum Ross. Yo Nini, sorry it's very late, but happy birthday, bro. Thanks, man. Hope you enjoyed your time. Always do. Anyway, my question is, so far, who have we played that has really shocked you in terms of us either beating them comfortably or struggling immensely? Thanks, man. Also, was wondering if I could get added to that. Yep, don't worry about that. And yeah, I think the team that surprised me the most was Derby. I think, as I was saying, they were the first team to use that mid-block tactic against us, but they did press us high at times. Now, my thinking was, well, obviously, it's the second team, they don't really play together. It's understandable. I didn't realize it would be a much bigger issue than that with the first team, but it has been. And yeah, they really came up with that tactic first, and it's no surprise that it was obviously Lampard and Morris to come up with a tactic like that. I think looking at that game, they probably deserved to win it over us. We got lucky in that sense. They created some very good opportunities against us, and I think they're the team that really shocked me the most this season. I think obviously second would be Spurs. I was not expecting that type of destruction from them. So yeah. Cool. Let me see what other questions. Okay. It's all Chelsea. Hey man, bring back Samsung. um, Nini Hazard will retire. He's held talks with Hazard recently. Not that. Oh, okay. But yeah, I'm guessing that's understandable. That makes sense. The harsh horse. Thorgan Hazard or Christian Pulisic. Mm, I'm gonna go for Thorgan Hazard because my only thinking is, if Hazard was playing alongside his brother at the club, could that really persuade him to stay? I think so. I think with Thorgan, I think he's a very versatile player. He can play all across the front three. He's that type of guy that can operate in the half space as well. I think that he is a good player. He's definitely been improving at Borussia. It's taken him a while to be like a proper first team player because a lot of times he'd be in and out of the team. But I think the past 2 seasons he's been like a first team one, and it's clear that he's really developed, and it looks like he could be a pretty impressive player. I remember with Thorgan that he was very highly rated when he was younger. But I mean, so far with his career, when we signed him, then he was in Belgium for like 2 years, and he went to Borussia. He's doing really well. He's a Belgium international player, and yeah, I think I'd have him over Pulisic in my opinion. Um, there was always one thing I thought about, as at the moment in football, it's all about possession. Like Pep, sorry, some years ago, Jose Styles works. I wonder what the tactics of future will be in 10 years. That is a very interesting one. What could the tactics possibly be? I mean, it looks like possession and high pressing is the popular thing in football right now. And I guess I think with how football evolves, basically football evolves from someone finding a counter tactic against a strong team, for example. Like when like defensive football was popular, that was because teams realized that teams that use like a playmaker, a number 10 with two wingers, you could easily shut them out the game if you use two defensive midfield players. And that's how football then changed during those like next few years. So I think whatever happens with football in the next 10 years is going to come down to how teams find a way to cope against these high pressing tactics, and if they can score goals and play well against them. So yeah. Alpha Trooper, thank you for the super chat, man. What realistic signings would you like to see in January? I'd like to see a right winger come, or a striker, realistically. But at the same time, in the January market, you can't really get the type of quality that you would want. I think with Chelsea right now, as we saw with our summer window, we're not looking to just spend stupidly anymore. Players we want to sign are going to be improvements to the first team, not squad players. So I feel that summer's when we're going to see those types of players coming in. In January, I'm not really too sure, to be honest. Maybe there could be something crazy. Some player becomes available in the market. I don't think that's likely. So I think maybe summer is the best periods. Hussein, Thorgan has more goals and assists than any player in the German League this season. Exactly. Look how he's improved. If he continues his form throughout the entire season, he'll have other big teams looking at him. So that's how you do it. If you look at a lot of these world-class players today, a lot of them weren't like the best youth player for their teams when they were like 16. A lot of them had to work from the bottom. They got lucky to the point where they were playing for teams that suited their style and their game. The right managers came. Those teams had success with the right tactics and the right players playing the right system. But there's so many variables to being a top-class player. But it looks like with Thorgan, his career path is very positive. It's going in that right direction. You can see it now in his performances. I mean, that's a great stat that he's got in the Bundesliga. And he's looking at the most effective attacking player there so far. So it'll be interesting to see. And yeah. YB1, hey Nini. What do you think about Wilson and Husai in January? I think if Aspie's got a new deal, I don't see the point of him, to be honest. And I think with Callum Wilson, I don't know why this is a thing. I wouldn't have Callum Wilson at Chelsea. I think I don't. You only consider Callum Wilson if you need like a second or third choice striker. We don't sign guys like this to lead us. I don't think he's. Of course, he's been really unlucky with injuries over the years, but he hasn't done enough to tell us, yeah, this guy should start for us. Morata and Giroud, yeah, maybe they're not the best, but we can sign better players than Wilson. So I haven't even seen reports of this. I haven't heard any links behind the scenes of us even looking at him. So I don't really know where this Wilson thing came from, to be honest. Nicholas Jacobson Nini, thoughts on Aspie Dave signing that new contract? Um, well, yeah, obviously with Aspie, it seems like the club must have approached him. I don't know, to be honest. I need to find out. But I know that he's one of the contracts for a while. But Aspie, because he's a nice guy, he isn't the type of character that's gonna, tell his agent to negotiate with the team and get new contracts. He's hoping that the club will do it on their terms. It's looking like they did, because obviously with guys like Alonso and Kante signing deals, it looks like Aspie got what he wanted. So yeah, it's nice that he did the right thing morally. He got rewarded for it, and it's a weird one. I mean, let's see if Aspie can improve. As I'm saying, I think next season is when we can be really critical of things. I think this season we really need to have perspective with all our thoughts and opinions. Who knows? Let's say second half of the season, Aspie starts looking more confident in the system. Potentially, he could get better. That would be interesting to see. But I don't know. I prefer someone that's better in those areas. But Aspie hasn't really played such an offensive role for a while, so it's going to take him time. That is the perspective on that. So let's see what happens. Also, you guys, if you want your question prioritized, you know what to do. Send a super chat. Oh, Timothy, thank you, bro, for the super chat. It means a lot. If you could bring one Chelsea player back right now, who would it be? If I could bring back one player, you know what? I would bring back Salah. He's the player I'd bring back. Yeah, I think Salah. We the main position we need is that right hand side. We need that. I mean, we've seen the potential with Pedro there. Is he the final answer forever? No, I don't think so. I still think he's too inconsistent at times. A lot of times, people kept saying why was Sarri not using him, but what was he doing during those games? Now I understand he was coming back from injury, so I sympathise with that. But Pedro just isn't consistent week in week out, even though he's a very good player. I don't know. I like Salah to come back. I think having that guy with the right foot, with his movement in behind, he helped create even more space. Him with Hazard playing together, that link-up play with our midfield too. We get a lot more goals if he was in the team. And he was another guy that we just had no patience with. We signed all these great players, but then, we let a manager like Mourinho have them. Guys like Cuadrado have gone, look how he's done well at Juventus since he's left. We had Salah, Oscar, De Bruyne, Mata. I mean, if we had a Sarri back then with that team, we would be top 3 teams in the world. We would. If Sarri was our manager back then, we'd easily be top 3. We would have won at least 2 league titles, I'm sure. Everything would be amazing. We'd be one of the best clubs in the world right now. I think we'll get there. It's going to take us time. It will take us a few years. But it just goes to show what poor planning does. It really does. But again, Timothy, bro, thank you for the super chats you've sent today, man. Fabrizio, again, thank you for the super chat. Who are your top 3 choices to be our new number 9? That's a good question. I'd look at players like Icardi. I'd look at someone... I don't know. I've always liked strikers that have more in their game. Like guys like Aguero and Suarez. Yeah, their movement's very good. Their finishing's very good. But they can also beat a man. They can play people in. That complete style of forward. I've always liked those types of guys. I think he'd be an interesting one to look at. Who's another player? Maybe Martins could be interesting. I don't know. I don't know. Who else is there? Fekir is not a striker, so I wouldn't even think about using him there. There was one guy I always liked, Lautaro Martinez. I think he's going to be the next big thing in the next few years. What other strikers do I like that are doing well? I think Depay, I think he'd be an interesting one too. I know that Jovic guy is doing well in the Bundesliga right now. Is it for Freiburg or something? he had a big reputation when he was in Serbia. I think, is he on loan from Benfica or did they sign him? But he's really young, isn't he? Like 20 years old, and I think his goal scoring streak's been ridiculous so far. And I like his overall game. I like how he plays football. He's an interesting one. I know that Gabriel guy from at Santos is looking better now, being back in Brazil. He's another striker that has more in his game. There's a lot of possibilities. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't really thought too much into it, but yeah, that's the type of profile of player that I like. Let me see. And of course, Anthony Martial. I knew I was forgetting someone. I think Martial would be the dude I would sign, to be honest. Okay, Granit Razak. As you said in one of your previous videos, I love when people quote me back on videos I've done. I know that it's not just going through everyone's heads. We're looking at backup for Jorginho. We might not sign Kovacic on a permanent deal and rotate him for the Regista role and Kante role, but I don't think Kova would like that. I don't know. I think you can't spend 50 million on a player and he's like a backup. I think you can do that with a club like Man City because Pep constantly rotates. He rarely uses the same first team, and I think that's how you do it. And I think I really respect how Pep does things. I think this is why his teams are so consistent and they get so many spells where they've got unbeaten spells during the season. It's because I think all the players feel that if they perform well in training and they perform well, he is going to use you. He doesn't have that bias against you. And I think I understand Sarri's adapting and trying to start new things at the club. It's going to take time. I can respect to a degree that you can't constantly rotate, but I still think you can do it slowly. You know, Christensen shouldn't be relegated to B team games. I feel that he should be playing in the league and swapping out with Luiz or Rudiger. We don't become a weaker team for doing that. And I think that's what we need to do to improve in that position. Frankfurt, thank you, Misha. Frankfurt, not Freiburg, for Jovic. Thoughts on Lucas Paqueta? I don't know how you say it. I mean, to be honest, I don't know why he went to Milan. Actually, Milan are trying to do things right now. They are. I think that he's a great signing. They're looking at a Cesc Fabregas type of player. I think when it comes to Cesc, you know what? I'll say something about Cesc. I was going to save it for a News Daily video, but I'll say it here. But, you know, Chelsea are considering selling him in January. Now, here's the thing. Potentially, it could be for a transfer fee. But they're also considering the idea of letting him leave on a free, because that way you save on 6 months of his contracts. The guy's on 200k. That's a few million you're saving just from doing something like that. So, Chelsea got to realise clubs aren't going to spend big for Fabregas. I think even 10 million. I don't even think Milan are on doing something like that. But I can tell you as well that Chelsea are considering, if we let Fabregas leave on a free, we want guarantees that you consider signing Bakayoko at the end of the season. And I think that is the best compromise. That's the Marina way. I'm not going to lie, she can be frustrating, but I love when she comes up with these really efficient negotiation skills. You know what I mean? It's such a smart thing to do. I remember during the summer when everyone was having a go about why Sarri wasn't signed the next day. We all thought it was going to happen. She waited for the right time. In the end, things played out well, and we got Sarri in the best possible way, because it meant that Jorginho didn't go to Man City. We stopped a rival from strengthening, and we signed the key player that we need for Sarri. So Marina can do good things, and I think if she gets this Milan thing sorted, potentially, then I think that'll be another fantastic piece of business, because we're getting money for Bacca. And that means that Fabregas, they're saving money on him as well, because we're not paying his contracts. I think it would make sense for Cesc to go to Italy. I think that's the league that respects older, experienced players. I feel playing in this position in a league like that, especially at Milan when you've got Kessie and Paqueta surrounding him potentially, he can play for much longer. I feel that if Cesc went to Milan, he could play till he was 35 or 36 in a league like that. So yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense for everyone if Cesc does go to somewhere like Milan. Okay. Tyrone Mings, the left back at Bournemouth. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how his season's going. Immobile, yeah, class movement. He's done really well at Lazio. He is one of the top 10 strikers in Europe, in my opinion. Brandon Perks, yep. Prince Yeah, how you doing, man? Can Chelsea win the league next year? Of course, 1,000%. And I think that it's gonna come down to the key signings we make. If we get all the targets we want and we need, we're one of the favourites with Man City. Um, okay, irritated Chelsea fan, Jimmy Roberts, I agree. Kwame, Dini, what centre back should be signed if Luiz or Christensen leave in the near future? Well, we've got someone called Kurt Zuma. I would bring him back, to be honest. Of course, if Cahill goes as well, we need to sign someone else. I wouldn't be surprised if we look back at Rugani. I mean, I hope we wouldn't. What centre backs are looking promising right now? I can't even think on the top of my head, you guys. I really can't. What centre backs are looking good right now? Yeah, I can't even think, man. I really can't. Kaz, would you go for Mata in the summer? He's on a free. I would personally go for Mata because he's someone that can play all across the front three, and I think that he'd be an improvement to the team. I would sign someone like Mata again. My head does not look like, yep, sell him to China for 100 million. Yep. RV Nini, why is everyone overlooking Emerson? He was considered a top prospect in Serie A before his horrible injury. I think so as well, but I don't know. It just isn't getting the game time. I'm hoping that he's going to be used soon. I think that he's shown some promise in his performances. I think that Emerson's someone where he needs that motivation of game time. You know, I think that if he doesn't get that, I think he can lose his focus quite easily. I'm only guessing. I don't know the player. I'm only guessing off limited information, so don't even take my words too seriously. But yeah, I like his skill set. You know, that was one area I thought Sarri would do things differently, was the left back position. I already felt in the summer that Emerson was guaranteed to be the left back. I mean, with someone like Gulam, Alonso and Gulam aren't anywhere near the same type of player. If anything, Alonso is kind of like a poor man's Alex Telles, in my opinion. And, you know, with Gulam, the guy had skill. He could beat a man. I don't know. Misha Pavard would be a great ball-playing defender, support fullback. Plenty of potential and underrated. I know why everyone's getting gassed because of that pass that Pavard made recently. I think it's the second time he's made a pass like that at Stuttgart. Yeah, he's an interesting player, but at the same time, I don't know too much about him now. Yeah, I know he was playing for France at the World Cup, but I thought he was playing out of position. He was played out of position, so I thought he looked solid. But I don't want any more Aspie fullbacks. I want fullbacks that can attack. I look at every big team, all their fullbacks can do stuff with the ball. We need to move in that direction. Nitska, Emerson suits the system so much better, I agree. Nini lied to Prince. What? Harry Truman Nini, do you think Ruben can steal your girl? The funny thing is, obviously, I think everyone's girl likes Ruben. I don't know why. I really don't know why. What other questions are there? I'm going to look at the Patreon questions now. Hey, Neil. Sent a few questions before this, Nini. Not sure you got them. I'm going to look at them afterwards. How good is Ruben looking? Been rapping him online for a few years now. I'm so glad that everyone is seeing it now. Always respect you for backing him despite the short-sighted Barkley hype. I keep calling Ruben Zidane plus Yaya because he has that unique combination of power, strength and flair. It's so rare to find. Ruben likes my tweet with that name. So I'm hoping that Zidane name goes mainstream. Help me with it. Oh, nice. So Ruben actually liked your tweet. That's sick, man. Zendaya, yeah? That's crazy. That's a nice one, man. But yeah, I agree with Ruben as well. There's one thing I like about him, and that's his ability to carry the ball. Now, before anyone just reacts kind of crazy, hear me out first. Ruben kind of reminds me of Kaká with how he runs with the ball, because, you know, Kaká was pretty tall himself. I think they had a bit of a similar build, you know, very fast, amazing acceleration. But for guys that were so big and tall, their center of gravity and their balance was amazing. I mean, look how Ruben can just change the gears, going from, like, you know, a steady pace to really fast. How many times have you seen already Ruben running through the middle on goal, where he's skipping past opponents, getting clean through on goal, and he's finishing letting them down. I mean, he's done that like 3 or 4 times this season already. He was very unlucky against PLOK2 a few days ago. Only top players can produce moments like that. And he's always had that in his locker. And I feel that the guy is a unique talent. I'm trying to think of midfield players similar to him. I don't really think there are. I think he's a pretty unique player, especially for an English player on top of that as well. Sarri's got to embrace the talent he has and be patient. I think, he might be a bit more frustrated at times, but as I was saying in my video, if this is going to be a transition year anyway, if Sarri's saying the goal is to get top 4, which I think we easily will do, then why should I was gonna phrase that stupidly then. Of course, expectations should still be high, but why is it that you can't afford to take a risk knowing that next season is the main year? Yeah, as I'm saying, Ruben might frustrate at times, but I think if he consistently played throughout the season, he's going to get better much quicker. And when it comes to next season, when we're trying to win things, go for the Premier League, go for multiple trophies, he's going to be a much better for that. That's going to help us in the future. And that's the type of long-term thinking I want to see. Not everyday short-term. Is Ross Barkley going to be a top player for us in the next 3 years? I don't personally think so. Has he shown enough compared to Ruben? I don't personally think so. But yeah, I don't understand. Let me loads. Okay, cool. Timoteo, how you doing, man? Who would be a better fit for the backup producer role, George McEachran or Billy Gilmour? I think McEachran, it's kind of deep for him. I think English players like him, they definitely need to leave to go abroad, because no team in this league is going to use a player like McEachran in roles like that, because most teams aren't going to use registers or playmakers in midfield. And I think with his build being quite small, and with only a handful of teams really using possession football, he's not really going to work in this league. Can you see a team like West Ham using him? Of course not. So I think potentially he could do something here. I think the fact that Gilmour's been called up by Sarri to train with the first team a few times means that Sarri must be liking something he's seen with him. So I think that maybe Gilmour would be that guy, to be honest. But McEachran's still a very good player. Very nice control. I wish that players like this could actually do something in this league. But unfortunately, with so many teams having quite negative tactics and, not having the right managers, and sometimes the football not being as sophisticated tactically, guys like this can't really do anything here. Other questions to ask. You guys, I'm going to be here for another 10 minutes, then I'm going to bounce. So if anyone wants any questions prioritized, you know what to do, send that super chat. But Demonoid, future of Mitchie. Well, I'm not hearing anything just yet. To be honest, all I'm hearing from before, which is a while back, nothing too different, is the fact that we're looking to replace both these guys for next season. So expect a new strike force to come in. We're looking at a second choice and a first choice striker. It's looking like he might not stay. This Valencia move hasn't looked too great so far, but things could change in the future in the second half of the season. Let's see what happens. Mustafa Ahmed, if we don't buy a striker in Jan, which false nine, Hazard, Morata, Giroud, batsman, or Tammy Recall? Well, I think if we don't sign a striker, I think, the club will probably think, well, we can survive with Morata and Giroud till the end of the season. So yeah, I'm guessing Sarri could potentially experiment with using a strikerless front three if they continue to be bad, or if they go on a very long goal-scoring drought. That would force them to have to adapt, because that's what Sarri does. He did that at Napoli. Napoli didn't start off as a 4-3-3 team. I think they started off as a 4-3-1-2 and then a 4-2-3-1. And I think when Higuain left, then they moved to 4-3-3. It was something like that. I'm paraphrasing. I can't fully remember. But, Sarri is that type of guy where he will do stuff like that. Daniel Smith, do you think Barkley will come good? Me, personally, I don't think so. Now, it's not even because he's a bad player. It just doesn't suit our system, I don't think. I think to be at number 8, you've got to be press resistant. You've got to be able to be useful with the ball, affect the game. I think that whenever he plays, he's very pedestrian with his passes. I think that with Barkley as well. Honestly, I think he's just a decent player. I don't think he'll ever be a top player. And it just frustrates me that he takes game time away from Ruben, because imagine if Ruben had 5 more games added to his season right now. I think he'd be even better. And I think that's how we got to see things right now. I don't know, with Ruben, as Conte himself said, he's an investment guy. I mean, with Barkley, he's an investment signing. But at the same time, I was hoping I could release a 5 talking points video on that PROK game. I wasn't able to. But I was thinking, if anything, I think Barkley would make more sense playing in the Kante role if he was the backup player to Kante. I think playing in that role suits him more, playing that support role, because you're not going to rely on Ross Barkley to be the main creative guy in a team. Of course not, because number one, he doesn't always get his passes off. Number two, his vision isn't like amazing. He needs a lot of space to play. He's not press resistant. I mean, I could go on. But I think playing in that role is better because Kante has a bit more space to play compared to that left-hand side, because, of course, most of our good football comes from the left. So it's natural that teams will look to be a bit more aggressive down that side. I think with Ross Barkley, of course, he's tidy on the ball. I think if you take away the ability for him to have to be creatively good, then I think you're getting the best out of him, because he does possess a very good shot from outside the box. I think that he could definitely be a solid backup option to Kante. Let's say there's games where it's like, yo, we need to get back, there's 50 minutes to go. I would sub off someone like Kante, play Ross in this position, and see what happens from there. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's how I would use Ross Barkley. I wouldn't use him in the number 8 role anymore. Okay, let me see. Giro Digital Media. Barkley is like Lampard. At the age, Lampard was not special yet. Yeah, no, I mean, Lampard was doing he was doing a lot more than Barkley at the same age. So I'm not gonna, let's not try and downplay Lampard that much. Even though, yes, we can all agree that no one expected him to be a world class player, but obviously Lampard wasn't, he wasn't as bad, back then. Imzio1, Barkley overrated. Yep. Gianni, Cellini, Ruben needs to be the starting number 8. 1,000% he needs to be. Keenan Nini ain't again hating Barkley. I'm not hating. People are asking me questions. I'm just giving my opinion. What other questions are there? BW Media. Things need to be there needs to be a clear path from the loan army to the first team squad. They need to stop neglecting youth. I agree. I think that it'll be hard to expect that this season. I think Sarri's someone that wants to get all his ideals in place. But I feel that, next year when he's got a proper pre-season where he knows most of the players, he's probably seen a lot of the youth players as well. He's probably got an idea on some of the young players, out on loan in the loan army. I think next year we can judge him more on how he uses youth players. Ideally, I would love if we looked at bringing back Reece James, but I think with Chelsea, we wouldn't consider this guy until he's 2021 for some baffling reason. But yeah, I think for us to really see what Sarri does, we got to wait until next summer's pre-season. Lorenzo Lopez, I heard the piling with Chelsea. Yep, that is 100% true. So that's not fake. Jimmy Roberts, Mount to stay and fight for a starting place next season. I'm going to ruin another bubble. I'm going to burst another bubble, but he's not going to be here next season. I think if he does have the opportunity to show what he can do, it's going to come down to a lot of different circumstances. But currently, and I can only give information from what I know currently. Of course, things can change in the future. Who knows? But from what I know, the plan is for Mount to get a better loan club for next season. So we'll see what happens there. I mean, I guess it makes sense if you've got Ruben that's doing well, Cover and Ross. The chances that Mount's going to get much game time over those guys is very remote. And I don't ever see Sarri doing a Pep and having like 2 guys like a Silva and De Bruyne in midfield, like a Mount and a Ruben. I don't see that happening. Yeah, with Mount, I think he's going to be someone we consider again when he's older. Let's see what happens. This is what happens when you stockpile, though. When you stockpile, shit like this happens. But I wouldn't be surprised if guys like, Cover, don't sign or Ross gets sold in the future. Once that happens, then I think that Mount could be the guy that comes to replace them. I bet anyone a bucket of KFC. Nini's still here in 10. Nah, this time, 100%, I'm going in 4 minutes because I'm starving. And you guys, sorry if I'm being sounding a bit like incoherent at times. You know the months where you're hungry. Like my mouth feels really tired. I've been talking a lot today already. I need to eat something, man. What are you ordering today? Now I'm cooking. Obviously, my birthday was on Saturday. You know, I've got some plans coming to next year. You know what? It made me realize I need to start paying more attention with my health. You know, I'm not working out as much. I'm not eating the right stuff. Obviously, doing YouTube and working, you know, you're sitting in front of screens all day. It's a very, like, and obviously when I do videos, that affects my social life too. I end up sitting down a lot. And I keep seeing stuff of, you know, people suffering from shit like arthritis or, you know, issues like that. And a lot of these things come from not looking after yourself. Not, I mean, of course, not all the time, but most times this stuff comes from not looking after yourself. And I don't want to be some 60-year-old with a bad back and, you know, just looking like a dickhead in the future. So I'm back to cooking meals, man. Back to cooking meals. Let me see. Hassan, what about... Yeah, I answered that. Harry German Nigerian foods. Yeah. Nicholas Jacobson, workout at home. That is what I'm doing. I've got the Insanity workout. I was lucky. One of my guys gave me a copy of it on a USB, so I have that workout. I want to start. Obviously, I watched Creed 2 over the weekend as well. You can't watch a film like Creed 2 and not feel gassed to start working out. I want to start like doing weights and stuff. Like you need to. After watching Creed 2, like when you see all the work they're putting in to get their bodies and their physique, it gets you gassed to want to do that. And yeah, I need to just make sure that I'm looking on point for next year, man. CFC Anuj, Nini, Blue Line CV, get to come with you to Japan. That's the plan. I would like to go to Japan, 100%. That would be mad. Brandon Perks, Wan-Bissaka thoughts. Yeah, he's doing very well this season. Let's see how he continues. I think that he doesn't need to move just yet. I think with players like that, you continue your form. You wait for the right opportunity to get a move. I don't think he needs to force anything just yet. Vatsal, Pandya, Charlie Colkett. Again, I was making that point about George McEachran and that profile midfield player. I think it's the same thing for Colkett. I think that playing in you know, in the second division and the first division, teams aren't really going to use him to his best ability. A lot of times you're just running after the ball. So I think with Colkett, another guy that should have considered playing abroad. These guys don't do it. I mean, of course, it's easy for me to say because I'm not playing football. But at the same time, it is like a massive sacrifice to move to another country. You know, you're not seeing your friends or family. You don't know the language. You got to meet new people. And, you know, it's a big thing. I do understand. But I think if you're players like that, your entire career depends on the moves you pick. If he had better clubs, there's a chance that people would rate him much more highly. But because he's been unfortunate, he keeps getting these lower league teams that aren't really getting the best out of him. So, I don't know, man. Creed 2 was really good. Yeah, I like Creed 2 a lot. It got me gas. Let me see. Yeah, you guys, I'm going to be here for 1 more minute, then I'm going to keep it moving. I think I've answered all the Patreon questions. I don't think there's any more super chats as well. Okay, there's a few. Okay, I'm going to answer the Patreon questions and I'm going to leave. I'm not going to answer no more questions on here. I'm sorry about that. I'll answer the Patreon ones. I'll do another live stream again soon though, so don't worry about that. And I'll stay a bit longer. It's only because I'm hungry. But obviously, if anyone sent a super chat, I would prioritize that. But I mean, you know how it is. Christian Valadez, any plans for the channel? Which player would you interview next if you could? You know what I would love to do? I would love to interview an ex-Chelsea player. I'd love to interview someone like a Ballack, or like a Joe Cole, or Drogba, or someone like that. You know, that would be the next thing I'd want to do. Or I'd like to speak to someone again that was part of the club, like a Chalobah. I feel like I need to get way better with that type of stuff. I was kind of nervous, not because it was like I'm speaking to Chalobah, but just the whole thing. Like, I can't mess this up. I need to sound coherent, blah, blah, blah. And whenever I feel like stressed or pressured, I don't feel like I give the best account of myself. So, but yeah, I like to do an ex-player. That would be sick. And I don't know. I think my format would always be to do it over Skype. I think it's better that way when they can just speak from their home. They can just feel more relaxed. They can be in their pajamas if they want. I don't care. I think that'd be the best way to do it. And I think that's more in tune with that, the YouTube spirit. Instead of being in like a studio with, the fancy ass cameras and lighting, I don't know. I think, YouTube spirit is just from your house. You know what I mean? So that's what I do. Neil, another point of Ruben is that the unique combination of the skill set is like having a cheat codes. I'll just say that. Zuma is another one. I agree. How often do you see such centre backs that you need to get out of bad situations with their sheer pace and clean tackling needs recalling? Reece James is another player who's a cheat code. Yes, I agree as well. Kurt Zuma is someone that I just don't understand. I don't really think he's ever even been. I don't even think he's been bad these past 2 seasons. I think he's been good. I think certain players like that, you don't really appreciate their skill set unless they're playing with other great players. But I think aerially, I think he's up there with Van Dijk. I mean, they're the two best players aerially in the league for me, Van Dijk and Zuma. His spring's amazing. His pace, I thought his tackling's very clean. How often is Zuma giving away free kicks? That's the thing that baffled me the most. I don't understand how everyone gave up on him. Maybe there's more context behind the scenes, I don't know. It makes the guy that was playing for us that season, the 14-15 season, alongside Terry, putting in some fantastic performances against Man City and Liverpool especially, that stood out for me. After that injury, I don't understand. I don't. Raul, is the Premier League overrated in regards to tactics compared to La Liga? I think so, because I think that in La Liga, I think every team's more confident in playing their game and trying to win. I think in the Premier League, there's still too many teams that will play very defensive systems unnecessarily that go against the benefit of the team. You'll get some teams that are so defensive they have no counter-attacking threat, and I don't really see that in La Liga. Now, I don't know what it's like this season because Sky didn't renew the rights. I think there's no La Liga on Sky, no Serie A anymore. Serie A that has Ronaldo in it isn't on TV in England. It doesn't make any sense, but yeah, I would say so. I think that the Premier League is definitely improving. I think with the profile of players that have been signed, there's a lot more attacking ones coming in. So I think that in the next maybe 2 years or something, I think the league will be very, very good overall, D Lord, hey man, how you doing? And thank you for the birthday wishes, bro. What's good, my bro? Do you think we have a chance of grabbing Ousmane Dembele or Malcolm from Barca in January? Two players I always constantly ask of all the time. I haven't heard anything in regards to them. I think Dembele, if Dembele is available on the market, I think you've got to sign him. I don't care that he hasn't been as amazing at Barca. I mean, we've signed worse players from Barca, in my opinion. I think Dembele would be fantastic. I think it's such a rare skill set to have a guy that's comfortable with his left and right foot. I think that if we offered him the game time, you're consistently playing, that could help a lot. I think the guy, he can play people in. He's got a goal threat, fantastic dribbling. That's the type of player that I'd happily spend 80 million for, because I think that you're guaranteed to get another world-class player in the next 1-2 years. And I think at a club like us, he can achieve that. And I think that potential front three of a Hazard, Dembele and another forwards, then he can really start seeing how our season's looking for next year. But yeah, I think Dembele for me, man, he'd be amazing if he came. Let me see but yeah, I think that's basically everything, you guys. I think that basically is. That's gonna be me for the night. I need to keep it moving. I need to eat. I'm getting hungry, man. You guys, thank you for watching the live stream with me. I'm gonna have another one coming up. Of course, tomorrow's gonna be the match review. And then, yeah, we've got the City game coming up. I'm going to release small videos next week once the City game's done, because that's going to take a lot of my time to prepare for the match preview and other videos and stuff. But, yeah, a lot of things are going to come. A lot of changes are still going to come in the next few weeks as well. So, it's going to be an exciting time on the channel. But you guys, you know, obviously, thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for obviously interacting in the comment section. That's one thing I like the most in my channels. The amount of people that give their thoughts and opinions. You know, I get, quite a lot of comments compared to a lot of the other channels as well. So it's good to see that people see my channel as like a community page to come and talk. So that's really cool. But yeah, you guys, obviously the game tomorrow against Wolves is going to be a fun one. I think that it's going to be that nice contrasting style of like the Chelsea of new playing against, you know, the Chelsea of last season. I think that's going to be interesting to see because, as I was saying in the match preview, it's really going to let us know why we needed to sign Sarri. Why Sarri's way is the best way to take our club to another level. And I think we're going to exploit some of Wolves' weaknesses tactically as well. So I'm looking forward to that game. But you guys, I'm going to bounce. I'm going to keep it moving. I need to eat. Thank you for watching the Q&A live stream. I'll see you guys as soon. Thank you for everyone that obviously contributed with super chats as well. Makes a big difference. I'm just rambling on, you guys. I'll see you guys later.